Hi, this is a video demonstration of a project that I've been working on lately, which offers a way to develop desktop applications with user interfaces with S7 Scheme. So let's get started. Now the basic development information is in dev.org file, and if you're using Emacs you can make use of it. So let's see. We're using the Meson build system, so let's set up our project. This will clone every dependency and put it in the subprojects folder. You can see already here we have some dependencies. Now, before we start building and running the application, we need to create a link of our scheme files, which they have all the functionality we need. For example, the comment, macro, and so on. So we will put this under the build folder, and then when we build our executables, we will be able to use the scheme folder as it was our own subfolder. So let's build. Now that will take a while because we are statically linking against SDL and some other libraries, but well, mostly the building time is for SDL. Well, and Google test will take some time as well. So we are done, and let's get started actually with a simple REPL. Neat. Okay, so my idea for this demo is to build a simple text editor and a sneak peek of the end result. Will be this. Nice. So let's get started from scratch and see how we end up doing it. So what we're doing here is we are calling an application, an executable, the GUI REPL, which is inside the repo itself. And what it does is it listens for the user input, and then it also spins off a thread that, well, let me find it first. Yeah, it shows the GUI. And let's see now how this will go. So we have an empty file. Let's see. And let's get started. we don't have a draw variable, so let's make an empty draw function. And we are ready. Now notice that the drawing is not called constantly, but whenever there is an event, like the mouse hovering, or there is some input from the REPL. So let's remove our message, and now our output is clean. So first, let's see how we would draw something on the screen. But before that, I want to show you some basic documentation, which is really rough right now, but to get some idea. So this is the out.c.imGui namespace. Out stands for Acton Dev and is what I've come with until now. We'll see in the future if this, let's say, takes a product name. And this is all the functionality we can use from ImGui. Begin, we will focus on begin and text for now, just to have a hello world. So to use the namespace, we will do this first. So this is the most basic ImGui usage. You wrap your calls around begin and end, and you're doing something in between. Okay, but now let's see the power of Scheme and why I think Scheme and ImGui can work really well together. So we have the window macro, which essentially wraps our body around the begin and end function call. Now here the safe is just to catch any possible exceptions so that we will always call end after that. So instead of doing that, this is our old draw function. Let's work with the macros. Now the first argument is what is passed to the direct ImGui begin. So this is what we're passing, and then now the rest things that we put here will be executed between the begin and end functions. So oops. Oh, sorry, it's window, the macro. Alright, so we have something on the screen. Now, we don't really want this thing to show up, so there is the maximized call that will put everything on maximized. So now we're almost ready. Now let's see how we will add some we need to add a flag to specify that we have a menu bar showing on top. Let's ImGui window flags. let's see, what do we have here? Menu bar. Okay, so now we have a menu bar showing on top. And to be sure, we remove it, we add it. That's it. So now, how do we add a menu? Now, again, this is the macro that wraps all our calls. Menu bar. Around begin menu bar, we do our thing, and then end. Oh, sorry. Begin menu bar, we do our thing, and then we call end menu bar. So, begin menu bar. This accepts nothing, so the first argument is an empty list. So now the next call we need to do is we need to start a menu like file. The first argument is the menu text, and then we start drawing our actual items like open and save. And no, let's do that for now. Something, right, we don't call it yet, so here we have a menu. Whoa, ImGui body has no body. Yeah, okay, so the thing is, the menu item, as we said, the first argument is what is passed to the menu item, then any next items here will be called if the menu is open, is active. So, for example, wait. Perfect. It's working. All right, so now to show actually a text editor, we need a reference to a car pointer from C. This is how ImGui works. We pass it a reference, and ImGui itself modifies this pointer. So how do we do that? Now, I have this function here called new car, which accepts an argument. The help here is not that good. That should be size is the first argument. So for the verbosity, let's put a fixed size around here, 2 kilobytes, let's say. Car Okay, so we have a pointer to an array of characters. How do we use this? This is the getter, which does, which gets actually the contents of the string and translates it into a scheme string. And the setter works like this. Perfect. We have our string here. This is it. So let's display the text editor that modifies this buffer. Let's see if the help is better than this one. Alright, so input text. Right. Oh, I see. The output is actually cut. So this is text, but we want the multi-line. So multi-line. So what we need to pass here is a label, our buffer, and the buffer size. So that's why I said before, let's keep the buffer size somewhere. So input text multi-line. Now we don't need to show, let's show something. So let's, perfect. It worked, no crashes, I'm glad. So let's see, for example, what happened to our buffer here. And okay, I don't know actually why this happened. I'm gonna close it and open it again. Frankly, I don't know. I mean, this is a bug and I haven't found it yet. So let's see. Our buffer. Okay. Anyway, let's skip this bug for now and let's work on something else. How do we open and save a file? Now, this functionality is provided by the native file dialog library, and let me show you this actually. Which is a really nice library. I mean, simple, gets the things done. And I took the liberty of renaming it in NFD in my application. So one thing to note here is that my idea is that we will have some ecosystem of some libraries to easily work with things. and I would like to give the opportunity to people to straight work from Scheme and not having to edit the C code all the time and compile. So the NFD. Now, how is this working? We have an open and a save file dialog. Let's try. All right, and if we cancel, we get false. Wait, sorry. Yeah, we are here. We opened false. And the save is the same actually. False. And all right, perfect. Now the next step is, okay, we have the file names. We can get the file names from the native file dialog, but how do we actually read the files? Now this is not coming from C, but is directly from Scheme. And we have this get file contents, which is the closure naming is Slurp, and sometimes I'm following the closure namings before. That was my first contact with Lisp actually. So, and it's this. These functions are provided directly by S7. So, and to make our life easy, I mean, you end up just using this slurp and you pass the file name. So slurp and spit under the out.io namespace. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let's make this. Now, let's actually see what this. So this is our file, just saying hi there. So let's see. Slurp. Yeah. And spit. Which is the order? Spit. Is file and contents. Spit. Spat is the past sense, I think. So let's see. Perfect. Now, let's be more polite. And let's see how we can actually load this in the buffer. Oh, I just realized. We're gonna have some troubles maybe. So anyway, let's do some cleaning up. We don't need this anymore. Right. And let's close and run again. So let's see. Let's implement the open functionality here. So we need to check if we've got a file name, and then if we did, we will spit the contents of the file into the buffer. We will, slurp. So one file name. But we have to be careful with the buffer size, but let's ignore it for now. We just opened the demo file, which is pretty small. So let's see if this worked. Right. Draw menu. That's interesting. Oh, I see. Yeah. Ta-da! And it works. Okay, we have our open functionality. Now, what we just need to do is write the save. So mostly it's the same. So now, spit and that's it actually. Let's see. Right, so where is the So let's open the file. Hi there. Replace. And let's open here. It worked. And let's reopen the file here. Perfect. No crashes. I'm glad. So that's it for our demonstration. Now, to wrap everything, so what this does, the NS, is telling us where we are in our current work and in the REPL where everything gets evaluated. So if I do demo, now our our namespace is the demo namespace. So everything I run here is in the demo namespace. So the rootlet is a special namespace. It won't create a new namespace as we saw before happening, but it will, rootlet is actually something special from S7 scheme. So this is where we have, for example, the open function we just defined before. And X is not defined here because X is defined in the demo namespace. All right. So in our application here, I'm calling the namespace as rootlet because from the C++ side, I want to directly call draw, actually just the draw function. So I don't want it to be nested in some other namespace, but I want to have it on the root namespace. So now to clean everything up and with a syntax that is more similar to Clojure, this is how you're gonna do things. And yeah, now to be sure everything worked, let's close the application and run it again. Okay. And we open it again because we are non-believers. All right, it worked. So first, I'm glad it worked as a live demonstration. And then the state of this repo will be available as will be tagged as version 0.1. And well, if anyone is liking the project and he would like to contribute, contributions are more than welcome. And just open a pull request, or maybe just dropping a call in an issue. For example, the namespace is something that I've been thinking about. And I mean, I'm familiar that I'm deviating a lot from the defined library thing that Scheme offers. But I wanted something that is similar to Clojure so that you can define the namespace and you can switch namespaces, as we saw before, to define new things and not pollute your other namespaces, essentially. That's it. So thanks again and have a good day.